Chapter 543. Ling Xiaoqi saw that she couldn't win over Su Yiyan. She rubbed her face with both hands, snorted, and turned to leave. Su Yiyan saw this and hurried forward to hold her hand. She smiled apologetically and said, "Are you really angry? Do you know what you did wrong? Did I pinch you too hard just now?" Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and said, "I was wrong just now? Have you been having a good time recently?" "No, you're right." She had been having a good time recently. Cough, cough. "You're right, and you pinched me." Su Yiyan. Fine, she was in the wrong. "Well, is it that obvious?" Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and poked her forehead. "It's written all over your face. How can it not be obvious?" Su Yiyan touched the spot where she was poked and laughed foolishly. Ling Xiaoqi choked and stopped in her tracks. She turned around and looked at Su Yiyan with disappointment. "Do you smell something on me?" "What smell?" Su Yiyan subconsciously leaned over and sniffed. "There's no smell. The fragrance of a single dog. It's completely different from a flirtatious bitch like you who reeks of love." Humph. Ling Xiaoqi waved her hand and continued to walk forward. Su Yiyan finally realized what Ling Xiaoqi meant. She quickly stepped forward and bumped into her. She said with a half smile, "Jealous? Jealous my ass. Being single makes me happy. I've been with you for a long time. I can introduce you to my brother. My brother is a good man who can't be found anywhere. If you don't make an appointment now, in a year or two, he might end up in the hands of some demon. How much do you want me to be your sister-in-law?" Su Yiyan made a gesture. "Just a little bit. But if you're willing, you can develop this little bit into a vast ocean. After all, we should keep the goodies within the family." Ling Xiaoqi. So, this fat water was referring to her or a certain someone's big brother. Ling Xiaoqi and Su Yiyan parted ways before they entered the entrance. They belonged to different departments and walked in different directions. Just as she sat down at her desk, Xia Junxing came looking for her. "Yayan about Ruei." Xia Junxing's words were stuck in his throat. He stared at her in shock, as if he had seen a ghost. Su Yiyan looked up at him doubtfully. "What's wrong with Ruei?" "Yayan, you." Xia Junxing reached out and pointed at a certain spot on his neck. Su Yiyan suddenly had an ominous premonition. He took out a mirror and looked at his side. Sure enough, he saw that there was a "Damn Ling Xiaoqi." What was written on her face? She obviously saw this thing on her body, but she didn't tell her. Xia Junxing looked at his boss's gloomy face that could rain at any time and silently lit a candle for the unknown President Hua in his heart. Cough. "I didn't see anything. As for Ruei, the acquisition matters have been completed. Do you want to send someone to manage it or simply merge it and let it become a subsidiary of Dongqing City? Let's merge it directly. Have you checked those senior executives, artists and agents?" Yes, most of the senior executives of Ruei are in prison because of tax evasion. The rest of them realized that something was wrong, so they sold their shares and ran away. The rest of them have no real power and are more well-behaved. Okay. Su Yiyan nodded. What about Luo Weibing's former agent? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 544. That agent originally clung to a senior executive of Ruei. As soon as the senior executive stepped in, he ran away. Su Yiyan twisted his eyebrows and his face was a little ugly. Did he run away? Luo Weibing, the former agent, was a living troublemaker. He bullied the weak and was afraid of the strong. Luo Weibing was tortured by him in the early years. After he became popular, he licked him again. It was a pity that Luo Weibing had seen what this person was like at that time. Although he didn't replace him, he was not very close to him. This person held a grudge, and Luo Weibing insisted on not renewing the contract. He was scolded by the senior executives of the company. He counted all these things on Luo Weibing's head and became more and more resentful. He boasted that he had discovered Luo Weibing and brought him into the entertainment circle. He was grateful to him. He believed that Luo Weibing's actions were ungrateful, so he wanted revenge. The so-called scandals between Luo Weibing and Su Yiyan, as well as the scandals about Luo Weibing's acting as a big shot and sexual harassment, were mostly caused by him. It happened that the senior executives of the company were also very dissatisfied with Luo Weibing's refusal to renew the contract. They wanted to mess with him, so they colluded with each other and made those dirty things. Even if Luo Weibing, the former agent, was not able to be a mastermind, he must be the biggest accomplice. He just let him run away. Su Yiyan was really angry. He didn't run away. Xia Junxing obviously thought so. This person didn't get along with Luo Weibing. He had several artists under him. In addition, he had a close relationship with a senior executive of the company and secretly helped him do a lot of unforgivable things. After the senior executive was arrested, the people over there had been eyeing him. He wanted to run away, but he was caught as soon as he ran out of the door. Puff. Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. It's good to catch him. Since he is involved with the senior executives, he should not be able to come out in a short time. Even if he comes out, some people will trouble him. It's safer to stay inside. Su Yiyan heard his implication and didn't continue to talk about this person. What about the artists of their company? Does anyone want to leave? Yes. Some of them want to leave, while others want to stay. Investigate the background of these rows. The good ones can be focused on nurturing. They can be compared to the standards of our company's rows, so there's no need to treat them differently. Those with evil intentions would either terminate their contracts or freeze them. Be careful not to let them cause any trouble. If you want to leave peacefully, you can terminate the contract peacefully. If you have bad intentions, you don't have to be polite to them. When Xia Junxing heard Su Yiyan's words, he roughly understood her attitude towards Rue Yi. He nodded and said, I understand. I will send someone to take over as soon as possible. Also, anything else? It's about our company's key IP plans. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember that she had been inspired by the movie Fantasy Feast, which was about to be made into a movie of the same name. Therefore, she had urgently acquired several network IPs with more potential. After preparing for a few years, they would spend a lot of money to focus on building these IPs and use them to make more pillars like Luo Weibing and Shui Kaiwei popular. These acquired IPs covered a wide range of genres, including original works, radio dramas, and even comics. The story backgrounds were modern, ancient, future interstellar, apocalyptic zombies, gods and demons. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. I remember that among the several proposals you presented to me before, one was a comic adaptation, and the other two were all adaptations. The latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore was free to read. Chapter 545. These three were the most popular IP on the internet and had a larger audience. Among them, the comic was mainly about some funny stories, mixed with weird fantasy elements. If it was filmed well, it could become a hit even as a web drama. This kind of drama was most suitable for supporting newcomers. After all, newcomers might not have particularly good acting skills, but they had the advantage of being flexible. Once the character's spirit was shown, it would be easy for people to remember. What was the entertainment industry most afraid of? It was that people could not remember your face. As an actor, whether it was the protagonist or the villain, as long as the audience remembered your face, you would have succeeded. The other two IPs were adaptations. One was a modern drama about love and hate, and the other was an ancient drama about Peking opera. Over the years, with the stability of life after the migration, people became more and more respectful of the restoration of ancient culture. Many ancient dramas were born. Unfortunately, due to the loss of ancient culture in the real world, most of the dramas were like dogs instead of tigers. A lot of idol dramas with ancient culture were filmed with huge sums of money, but there were not many that could really become popular. One of the main reasons why Su Yiyan picked this IP at first glance was that the author who wrote it had a good understanding of ancient culture and could be considered a professional. He was not just writing nonsense under the banner of ancient culture without any basis. Another reason was that when the system was upgraded, a picture book that had nothing to do with medicine had dropped from the upgrade treasure chest. It was about Peking opera. With this skill book and some professionals, Su Yiyan was willing to take a gamble on this IP. What's wrong with these IPs? Not enough funds? No, we have enough funds. Someone wants to work with us. Work with us. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. There were many roles in a drama. Even if it was a drama that was used to promote their company's art, it was impossible to use people from their own company. Which one of these three are they interested in? It's Love and Hate. Love and Hate was the modern IP. Su Yiyen was a little surprised. In her opinion, the one with the most potential among the three IPs should be the drama about Peking opera. But on second thought, the subject matter of this drama was more sensitive, and it was a serious drama. In the eyes of outsiders, the chances of a failure were much higher than a success. It was understandable that they were unwilling to take this risk. Which company are they from? Juiying. Juiying? Because she had accepted Dongcheng, Su Yiyen also tried to understand the entertainment companies in the industry. This Juiying company was about the same size as their company. It was a new company that was developing quite well. It did not have many artists under it, but their potential was not bad. What are their conditions? They want the roles of the first male lead and second female lead. In exchange, they can invest 10 million yuan. 10 million was not a small amount. Modern dramas did not need to simulate the background, and the makeup and costumes did not need to be too exquisite. The initial investment was lower than other types of dramas. The fact that Juiying was willing to fork out such a sum of money for these two characters could be considered very sincere. Yes, but you have to audition and the director is satisfied. In addition, whether it was an artiste in the company or an outsider, they were not allowed to change or add scenes after the script was set. The details can be discussed. If anyone dares to casually add scenes and cause the main plot and other characters to collapse, they should get out of here as soon as possible. Let them add this point into the contract. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 546. Okay. Xia Junxing noted down Su Yiyen's request and breathed a sigh of relief. If there's nothing else, I'll go out first. Wait. Xia Junxing looked puzzled. Is there anything else? Is the first draft of Fantasy Feast ready? Not yet. It's an original script. Although it's related to the game, it can't completely copy the background story of the game. The scriptwriter is still negotiating with the game designer. The first draft may take a month to be completed. Don't worry. Let them show me the first draft when they're done. Although Xia Junxing didn't understand why Su Yiyen was interested in the script, he still obeyed. Okay. After briefly discussing the internal affairs of the company with Xia Junxing, Su Yiyen couldn't help but think of Hua Chenhuan when she was free. What was he doing now? Was he at home or out? Where could he have gone? After absent-mindedly reviewing the documents for a long time, Su Yiyen couldn't help but take the initiative to call Hua Chenhuan. Yan Yan. As soon as she heard Hua Chenhuan's voice, Su Yiyen couldn't help but smile. Yes, where are you now? Listening to his wife's soft voice, Hua Chenhuan's face unconsciously softened. The company's executives, who were waiting for the meeting, looked as if they had seen a ghost. Some of the smarter ones subconsciously looked at Gu Xiaoyang and the others, who were sitting not far from Hua Chenhuan, and looked at them inquisitively. Gu Xiaoyang and the others knew what they were thinking. When they saw this scene for the first time, their surprise was no less than theirs. In the face of several inquiries, Yu Zian silently said the word, "Madam," to his trusted subordinates. When the subordinates saw his mouth, they immediately understood. It turned out to be "Madam." No wonder the boss suddenly changed his attitude. If it were them, they would also, forget it. If they coveted "Madam," they would be beaten to death by the boss. Hua Chenhuan didn't notice the actions of the subordinates. She smiled faintly and replied, "At the company." "The company? You went to the company? Which company is it?" "Fantasy Headquarters." "Fantasy?" Su Yiyen mulled over the name of the company, and it took him a while to remember. This seemed to be the headquarters of several companies under Hua Chenhuan's name. Zhua Yanbai, Gu Xiaoyang, and Yu Zian were all subsidiaries of this company. Since Hua Chenhuan didn't show up in the company all year round, the headquarters adopted a rotation system. Basically, one person was in charge for a month, and a quarter was a cycle. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt that the three of them were quite pitiful. They had been squeezed dry in all sorts of ways, and they wished that they could take turns working 360 plus times a year. The three of them. "I feel wronged, but I won't cry." "Are you alone? Is the company environment good?" Will you feel uncomfortable going to the company for the first time? Do the employees in the company treat you well? Hua Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyan's words, which were full of concern and worry. The smile in her eyes deepened. After she finished speaking, she reminded in a low voice, Yan, I'm the boss of the company. He was the boss of the company. Before, when he didn't come to the company, no one dared to ignore him, let alone now that he personally came to the company to work. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she realized that she had asked a few silly questions. Her face turned red, and she didn't say anything. Seeing that she didn't say anything, Hua Chenhuan roughly guessed her thoughts. She took the initiative to change the topic. You called me at this time. Do you miss me? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 547. Only then did Su Yiyan remember the main reason why he called Hua Chenhuan. However, he still subconsciously retorted, No. You didn't miss me? Su Yiyan was at a loss for words. Then that means you missed me. Su Yiyan. Although you're not wrong, why do these words sound so shameless coming out of your mouth? I missed you too. Su Yiyan's rebuttal was immediately defeated by someone's greasy confession. He felt depressed but also a little sweet at the same time. Su Yiyan, who was continuously teased, gave up struggling. He decisively skipped the question of who missed who and went straight to the point. Well, I called you because I want to. What? In order to thank you for bringing me to such a beautiful place last night and giving me such a beautiful courtyard, I'll allow you to order food tonight. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What do you want to eat? Hurry up, I'll change my mind if you're late. Order food. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed. Anything? As long as it's something I know how to do, anything is fine. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a while and said hoarsely, I don't feel like eating tonight. Ha! This answer was unexpected by Su Yiyan. Why do you suddenly not feel like eating? Are you not feeling well? Have no appetite? Before Su Yiyan could finish asking, a faint voice came from the other end of the phone. I want to eat you. Su Yiyan. Everyone. Who am I? Where am I? Will I still be alive after today? Su Yiyan's face turned red and he exploded on the spot. I suspect that you're driving, and I have evidence. Oh! Hua Chenhuan's expression was strange. His tone was so calm that it made people want to beat him up. Do you want to get in the car? I'll take you for a ride. Everyone was completely dazed. Car? What car? What were they talking about? It was too profound, and they couldn't understand it. Yes, they couldn't understand it. Su Yiyan was burning up. She resisted the urge to hang up the phone and complained, I'm being serious with you. What do you want to eat? No, I'll make the decision myself. Hua Chenhuan could tell that Su Yiyan was about to explode. She chuckled and said, I want to eat sweet and sour yen, braised yen, fried yen. Oh, forget it. Let's just steam yen. The original flavor is the best. Su Yiyan. Everyone. What the F***ck? Did boss and madam know how to play at home? Su Yiyan's mind went blank. In the end, she still exploded. Eat. If I don't kill you, you don't have to eat tonight. After shouting, she didn't wait for Hua Chenhuan's reaction and directly hung up the phone. Hua Chenhuan was yelled at by his wife, but not only was he not angry, he even seemed a little happy. The smile on his face made everyone's hair stand on end. When he came back to his senses from teasing his wife, he finally remembered the room full of pitiful people who had been forgotten. Then, everyone was lucky enough to see their big boss change his expression on the spot. A few minutes ago, he was like a spring breeze, gently confessing to his wife and secretly flirting with her. Now, he was like the autumn wind sweeping the fallen leaves in front of them. Cold, cool, no feelings. Hua Chenhuan's sharp gaze swept across everyone present. He said with a faint smile, What did you see and hear just now? Everyone. F***ck. This is a suicide question. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 548. In the end, Zhuo Yanbai was the first to break the silence and lead everyone in the room to save themselves. Ahem, we didn't see or hear anything just now. The others seemed to have woken up from a dream and hurriedly echoed, yes, 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 we didn't see or hear anything. They didn't see their boss's gentleness and sweetness towards his wife, and they didn't hear their boss flirting with her husband. They were all blind and deaf today. So boss, please spare our lives. Hua Chunhuan glanced at the trembling crowd and mercifully asked, where were you just now? Zhuo Yanbai and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They hurriedly winked at the department head who had reported on their work and asked him to quickly continue the conversation. Although the gossip between the young master and the young master was exciting, it would be fatal if one watched too much. Su Yiyan was fierce with his words, but he had a sharp tongue and a soft heart. He couldn't bear to let him go hungry. As soon as he got home, he ran to the kitchen and gave some benefits to his fans in the live broadcast room. Recently, I've been feeling hot, so I've been feeling heaty. My appetite hasn't been very good either. So today, I'll bring some medicinal cuisine and home-cooked dishes to clear away heatiness and improve your appetite. Hua Chunhuan had just clicked into the live broadcast room when he heard these two sentences. He seriously suspected that these things to reduce heatiness were specially prepared for him. After all, he had been heaty recently. Before he could think further, the screen of the live broadcast room was already flooded with comments from the audience. Recently, I've been really heaty. Once I'm heaty, I feel irritated. My mouth is bitter, and I have no appetite at all. Sob, sob, sob. Upstairs, you only have a bitter mouth. I'm the one who's really miserable. I have several bumps in my mouth. After they break, I feel so sore. Shaking hands with upstairs, I have bumps in my mouth when I'm heaty. Not only in my mouth but also on my face. It's so infuriating. Not only do I have bumps in my mouth, but my teeth also hurt. The flesh under my teeth is swollen and soft. It feels like it'll break at any time. It's really torturous. Generally speaking, there are 4 types of heatiness: liver fire, heart fire, lung fire, and stomach fire. If one felt bitter in the mouth, it was usually due to excessive liver fire. If there was a bump in the mouth, it was due to excessive heart fire. There are many reasons for excessive internal heat. Other than anger, you usually stay up late and drink too little water, so it's easy to get excessive internal heat. Since it was relatively hot, Su Yiyan mostly prepared cool and sweet soups: longan, lotus seed soup, wolfberry, and white fungus soup. Then, he used a ball-digging tool to dig out a watermelon cup and used the ready-made watermelon skin to carve an exquisite pattern. It was supposed to be a very simple ingredient, but after she made it, it suddenly became a beautiful and exquisite after-meal fruit. Su Yiyan mostly chose dishes that were appetizing, calming, and protecting the liver and kidneys. Dongpa tofu and asparagus with straw mushrooms were vegetarian dishes that tasted lighter. The heaviest dish should be the fried pork kidney in soy sauce. The smell of pork kidney was quite strong, and if it was not handled well, the smell alone was enough to dissuade most people. Su Yiyan first removed the tendons in the pork kidney, then soaked it in water. After that, she soaked it in cooking wine to remove the smell. Then, she added hot oil and stir-fried it. In addition, she also needed to add seasonings such as scallions and ginger to remove the smell. Then, she mixed in some refreshing cucumbers and fungus. A fresh and tender fried pork kidney in soy sauce was done. Chapter 549. Everyone was very curious about this dish. When Su Yiyan first took out the pork loin, many viewers in the live stream subconsciously frowned. The taste of the pork loin was very impactful to most people. Even if the tendons were removed and stewed, the smell would linger for a long time. Now that the dish was ready, although everyone was curious, they did not dare to try it. It was not until the first batch of curious people came out to share their thoughts that people started to try it. When the host first took out the pork loin, the smell almost made me give up. I didn't expect it to be so tender and delicious after cooking. The previous smell is all gone. It's true. I didn't dare to eat this at first. I always felt that the smell was not clean. When I saw other comments, I tasted it out of curiosity. I kind of fell in love with the taste. Sure enough, no matter what it is in the host's hands, it changes greatly. The fish is no longer fishy, and the mutton is no longer smelly. Now this pork loin is the same. Paired with the crispy and sweet cucumber. It's super delicious. It's soft and crispy. The texture is a little strange, but it's really delicious. After hearing your words, I want to eat it too. I'm salivating too. Su Yiyan took some time to glance at the screen. Seeing that most people were not repulsed by the taste of the pork loin, she felt relieved and turned to prepare the next dish, chrysanthemum sea base. The so-called chrysanthemum sea base was made by cutting the base meat into the shape of a chrysanthemum, marinating it with cooking wine, wrapping it in corn flour, and frying it in a wok. From afar, it looked like a blooming chrysanthemum. When the dish was placed on a plate, a few pieces of cooked green vegetables were placed on the bottom of the plate. The dish was like a scene. Every time people saw it, they could not help but admire the exquisite craftsmanship of the chef and the unique characteristics of the dish. When cooking this dish, a little lemon juice can be added to remove the fishy smell and freshen it up. It has an appetizing effect. However, because it's fried food, viewers with blisters on their mouths should not eat too much. It's okay, it's okay. The food tasting in the live stream will not affect reality. Thank you again for inventing the virtual simulator. I can taste all kinds of delicious food and not be afraid of eating too much. After hearing what you said, my resentment of not being able to eat the ingredients made by the host in reality suddenly disappeared. Although what you said makes sense, it's even more unbearable to find that your stomach is still empty after eating. Sob, sob, sob. The dishes made by the streamer always arouse my appetite. Even if it makes me heady, I still want to eat it. Please pick me later. Su Yiyan looked at the various complaints on the screen and smiled. It was nothing. She glanced at the dishes on the table and felt that it was still a little too little, so she added a dish of braised bamboo shoots and green bean lotus root. The mung bean lotus root was actually made by replacing the glutinous rice in the rock sugar and glutinous rice lotus root with mung beans that could cool down the heat. The lotus root was cut into slices with mung beans inlaid in the middle. With one bite, it had both the sweetness of rock sugar and the freshness of mung beans. The crisp texture of the lotus root paired with the sticky mung beans was quite popular among the audience who liked sweet food. After the live broadcast ended, Su Yiyan called for a few chefs to help take the few dishes in the kitchen out with Tang Du unexpectedly. As soon as he walked out of the kitchen, he saw the family of 3 uninvited guests sitting opposite Hua Chunhuan in the living room. Chapter 550. Strictly speaking, they could not be considered uninvited guests. The person who came was old Master Jiang, who had come to ask for help. Beside him was a girl who looked about 20 years old and was sitting in a wheelchair. She should be his eldest granddaughter who had been harmed by her scumbag father. Beside the girl was a non-mainstream teenager who was a few years older than her. He had green hair on his head, and the powder on his face could probably be used to paint a wall. His exaggerated smoky makeup and unruly expression made him look like a chunibyu no matter how one looked at him. The non-mainstream teenager was stunned when he glanced at Su Yiyan. Then, there was a little more inquiry and suspicion in his eyes. Su Yiyan did not care what this person was thinking. She asked in confusion, "Why are you here at this time?" If she remembered correctly, the appointment with old Master Jiang should be at 9 o'clock, right? It was only 7 o'clock. More than an hour earlier? Old Master Jiang was also a little embarrassed when he heard that. When he saw Hua Chunhuan stand up again that day, he had been in a state of extreme excitement and had not slept well for several nights. Su Yiyan would bring her over next week when she was free, so he called on Monday to ask. They had made an appointment to come at 9 o'clock in the evening, but they were afraid that Su Yiyan would have a bad impression of them if they were late, so they always wanted to come early. In the end, they came more than an hour earlier. That was not all. Before they came, they did not expect Su Yiyan's dinner time to be so late. It was almost midnight, and they were only about to start eating. They came just in time for dinner. No matter how one looked at it, they seemed to have come specially to ask for help. Su Yiyan saw old Master Jiang's embarrassment and then looked at Sister Jiang, who was quiet and curious not far away. She breathed a sigh of relief. She could understand his feelings. Back then, she was also focused on gaining more favorability points and leveling up quickly so that Hua Chunhuan could stand up earlier. Her hopeless life suddenly had a glimmer of hope. Even if she had to crawl, she hoped to grab it as soon as possible. With this trace of sympathy, Su Yiyan's heart softened a little. You came so early. You probably haven't eaten yet, right? Why don't you eat together? Old Master Jiang was slightly stunned and subconsciously said, No, we. Goo. The loud and clear voice reverberated in the room, and the atmosphere between the few people became subtle in an instant. In the end, Su Yiyan was the first to break the silence. She laughed and said, Since you're already here, there's no need to be polite. I just made a few extra dishes tonight. It would be a waste if we can't finish them. If you don't mind, why don't you join us? Old Master Jiang smiled awkwardly. Then I'll accept your offer. Behind him, young Master Jiang, the culprit of the cooing just now, patted his disobedient stomach in disappointment. He wished he could dig a hole and bury himself in it, leaving only his green head exposed. It was too embarrassing. He had just drunk a bottle of nutrient solution before coming here, so he shouldn't be hungry now. Just because he smelled the aroma of food in someone else's kitchen, he actually cried out. What a disgrace! This young master insisted on coming over because he was worried that his grandfather would be deceived. Instead of going to the hospital, he insisted on coming to someone's home for treatment. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't sound reliable. Along the way, the young master was nervous, thinking that he would turn into a microscope and expose the true face of the liar. In the end, he died before he could succeed. This made the young master, who was still in his youth, deflate like a balloon that had been pricked by a needle. Chapter 551. Hua Chenhuan was already displeased with this group of people who had suddenly barged in and disturbed his and his wife's dinner time. When he heard Su Yayan inviting them to have dinner together, his face sank, and he was very reluctant. Su Yayan immediately saw through his thoughts. She took the initiative to take his hand and said, Let's go. It's time to eat. I specially made some delicious new dishes today. If you don't eat them, they will be gone in a while. Hua Chenhuan was instantly persuaded. Those dishes were clearly prepared for him. Why should these outsiders take advantage of them? He had to eat more later. Sister Jiang was surprised to see the two of them interacting. She then stared unblinkingly at Hua Chenhuan. To be precise, she stared at Hua Chenhuan's recovered legs. Her eyes lit up. They had actually recovered. Grandfather Jiang and Hua Chenhuan's father were old friends. Because of this relationship, Jiang Qingrun had seen Hua Chenhuan when she was very young. She even affectionately called him Uncle Hua. She was only 10 years old when the family Hua's accident happened. She only remembered that her grandfather had a frown on his face as though he had encountered some difficulties. Later, she found out that the kind-hearted couple had passed away. Their company had been taken over by the annoying Uncle Hua, and the good-looking Uncle Hua had been paralyzed in an accident. He would never be able to walk upright for the rest of his life. At the time, she didn't understand what this meant. She secretly asked her grandfather if he could take her to see Uncle Hua. Jiang Qingrun still remembered the look in her grandfather's eyes when he looked at her. A few years later, she gradually realized that his eyes were full of guilt. When his old friend's son needed help the most, he chose to play it safe in order to protect their family. Although it was understandable, he felt guilty toward his old friend. At the time, he probably never imagined that a few years later, his biological granddaughter would become one of these unfortunate people. Jiang Qingrun looked at the old man who had aged a lot in the past few years and took the initiative to reach out and hold his hand. She couldn't help but recall the time when she had just gotten into an accident. Every night, the old man would secretly wipe his tears beside the sickbed. He would repent in a low voice after thinking that she was asleep, thinking that all of this was retribution for his selfishness back then. Jiang Qingrun didn't think it was karma. Even though she was her grandfather's granddaughter, her grandfather did that for her and her brother. Now that this retribution fell on her, she deserved it. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Grandpa, let's go. Old Master Jiang looked at his granddaughter, his eyes slightly red. He responded in a low voice and pushed her over. She didn't expect that someone would come back to eat at her house. Su Yayan basically made dishes that were suitable for Hua Chenhuan's physique and taste. Chen Huan has been rather hot-tempered recently, so his dinner is rather bland. I don't know if it's to your liking. Hua Chenhuan. Sure enough, these dishes to cool down were prepared for him. Rather hot-tempered? Grandpa and Grandpa Sanrao's eyes fell on Hua Chenhuan at the same time with subtle expressions. Especially young Master Jiang Changwang, he carefully looked up and down at Hua Chenhuan, as if looking for proof of his hot-tempered nature. He was afraid that he would suddenly fly into a rage while eating and spit out a mouthful of fire. If Hua Chenhuan knew what he was thinking, he would probably be unable to help but swear on the spot. He was hot-tempered, but he wasn't a fire-breathing dragon. Spit your sister's fire. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 552. Old Master Jiang was stunned for a few seconds before he realized that Su Yiyan was vaguely showing off her love for him. He coughed softly, unable to adapt to the young man's rhythm. Sister Su, you're too polite. It's too presumptuous of us to come uninvited. Jiang Changwang tried his best to shift his gaze away from Hua Chenhuan and the table. He said tentatively, well, my sister's leg. Let's eat first. We'll talk after eating. Yes. Let's eat first. How can we be energetic if we don't eat? We'll talk about other things after we finish eating. Jiang Changwang received his grandfather's warning gaze. He held his breath in his chest and couldn't get it out. He increasingly felt that his grandfather had been deceived. This person didn't answer because she was stalling for time. That's right, that's it. He had already seen through this person deliberately using eating to stall for time. Moreover, these things didn't look very delicious. He would never eat them. Jiang Changwang thought that he had discovered the truth and was full of resistance to the dishes on the table. However, this resistance was soon defeated by the expressions of enjoyment on the others' faces and the aroma of the dishes that kept wafting into his nose. These dishes didn't look special. Why did they smell so good? Then, he thought about it again. Maybe they only smelled good but didn't taste good. Why don't I give it a try? Jiang Changwang prepared himself mentally. Finally, he picked up his chopsticks and put a piece of bamboo shoot into his mouth. The fresh spring bamboo shoots were sweet and salty. They were crispy, sweet, and refreshing in the mouth. It seemed that he could even taste a trace of game unique to the mountains. By the time Jiang Changwang reacted, his chopsticks had already involuntarily reached for the other dishes. His heart, which was originally very resistant to these dishes, had betrayed him on the spot. Su Yiyan didn't know that someone had performed a live performance of smelling good right under her nose. She was being polite by inviting old Master Jiang and the others to eat together. However, these people weren't guests that she had specially invited. Su Yiyan didn't show too much enthusiasm. She sat at the table and ate while supervising Hua Chenhuan to eat the soup and dishes that she had specially made to cool down the heat. You've been having a lot of internal heat recently. This soup is specially brewed for you. It's good for clearing internal heat, replenishing energy and calming nerves. Drink more. Su Yiyan specially scooped a bowl of longan lotus seed soup and placed it in front of Hua Chenhuan. When old Master Jiang and the others who were sitting opposite them saw this scene, they were in a trance and sighed. You two have such a good relationship. It wasn't like the rumors outside that it was just a business marriage and a relationship of interest. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She blushed slightly. I'm sorry for making you laugh. Chan Huan's health had deteriorated a lot because of his legs. Although I'm fine now, I still need to recuperate for a while before I can feel at ease. Of course. Although old Master Jiang said that, in his heart, he was thinking about when his granddaughter would get better, so that he could have a chance to help her recuperate. Hopefully, this day will come, and hopefully, this day will come sooner. When Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, the corners of her mouth raised slightly. The depression of their world being disturbed finally dissipated a lot. But soon, this smile froze, and her eyes narrowed dangerously. When Jiang Changwang heard Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan's words, although he knew that it was impolite, his eyes still drifted unconsciously to the longan lotus seed soup, and his hand was eager to reach out. Unfortunately, before his hand could touch the bowl of soup, a sharp gaze slashed at him. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 553. Jiang Chengwang's whole body stiffened. He met Hua Chenhuan's cold gaze, and his wrist suddenly felt cold. He always felt that if he really stretched out his hand, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to see the sun again. Forget it. Food was precious, But life was more valuable. He couldn't afford to offend her. After successfully forcing the little puppy who dared to steal food from the tiger's mouth with his eyes, Huan was in a good mood. He drank the bowl of lotus seed soup that Su Yiyen gave him quite straightforwardly. Su Yiyen saw everything. She only felt that it was funny, but she didn't expose him. After the 5 of them had dinner, they took a short break and got to the point. Su Yiyen first tried to touch Jiang Qingruan's legs like when she treated Huan before. The answer she got was similar to when she asked Huan that day. Su Yiyen frowned, got up and said, "Go to the guest room." Although they didn't know what she was going to do, they still did as she said and pushed Jiang Qingrun into the guest room downstairs. "Put her on the bed and lie down." "I'll do it." Jiang Changwang immediately volunteered when he heard this. Su Yiyen couldn't help laughing. "If you don't do it, who will?" There were only 3 men in the room. Old Master Jiang was old. Not to mention carrying someone, he would be worried even if he bumped into someone. Her husband didn't like to touch other women except her. Even if he was willing, Su Yiyen wouldn't be willing. Jiang Changwang was the only one left. If he didn't help, did he expect her to carry him up herself? Jiang Qingwang's face turned green, but he was still worried about his sister's legs. He silently carried her to the bed. "Turn over. I want to touch her bones." "Touch her bones." Jiang Changwang looked at her in surprise. Jiang Qingrun didn't say anything. She tried to turn over sideways. Su Yayan reached out and touched her back all the way down to her tailbone, and a hint of understanding appeared in her eyes. Old Master Jiang stood on the side and looked at her nervously. When he saw her get up, he asked tentatively, "Sister Su, how is Qingrun?" "It can be cured, but it will take some time." When Old Master Jiang heard the first half of the sentence, he held his breath. His face instantly turned red, and his hands began to tremble. When he heard the second half of the sentence, he said without thinking, "It's good that it can be treated. As long as it can be treated, we can wait no matter how long it takes." Jiang Qingruan's face was buried in the pillow, so he couldn't see her expression. However, because of Su Yiyen's words, her hands, which were hanging by the side, suddenly grabbed the edge of the pillow tightly. Blue veins could be faintly seen. It was obvious that her heart was not calm. Jiang Qingwang's eyes also lit up. He was pleasantly surprised, but he was worried that he would rejoice for nothing. "It's good that you're mentally prepared. In addition, since you've already been treated, it's best to continue the treatment one by one. That way, the effect will be better. The problem now is that Chen Huan and I have to go to my aunt's place next month to accompany her due date. It might take a month or 2 for us to come back. Her place is quite far from City A. Do you want to wait for me to come back for treatment? Or do you want to come to me yourself?" Hearing this, Old Master Zhang's hot head cooled down a little, and he asked in a low voice, "Sister Su, may I ask where your aunt is?" "She's in City C." "City C?" Old Master Zhang muttered, "That's quite far away. But it doesn't matter. I have an old friend who has a property in City C before. I'll call him later to see if I can rent his house for a few months. If it doesn't work, we can also rent it there. Nowadays, if you have money, you don't have to worry about not having a house to live in. You can read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free." Chapter 554. Su Yiyen raised her eyebrows and confirmed again, "So your choice is, if possible, we hope to do it as soon as possible." "Okay, then let's start tonight. You can deal with the house yourself." Jiang Changwang exclaimed, "Tonight?" Su Yiyen turned to look at him. "What's wrong? Do you think it's too rushed? Do you want to delay a few more days?" No. Jiang Changwang hurriedly waved his hand. "I'm just worried that you're not fully prepared." His sister was paralyzed in the lower limbs. Could she be cured with a few touches? What do I need to prepare? Do I have to bathe, change clothes, burn incense, and fast before treating your sister's illness? Why are there so many rules? Jiang Chengwang was speechless. What kind of fallacy was this? It felt even more unreliable. Su Yiyen didn't care what he thought. She directly shouted at the door, "Uncle Zhang, help me bring the box in the room." "Oh, okay." Uncle Zhang moved quickly and brought the box down for her in a short while. Not only was there Su Yiyen's acupuncture bag in the box, but there was also a series of tools such as artemisia and massage. When Jiang Chengwang and Jiang Chengwang saw Su Yiyen take out such a thin and long needle from the acupuncture bag, their faces turned pale. Hua Chenhuan was very calm. After all, he had been pricked many times before, and he didn't know how many needle holes there were on his body. Sister Su Yu. When Su Yiyen heard old Master Zhang's voice, she realized that they were still in the room. She frowned and said, "Why are you still here? Where else can we go? Of course we go out. In a while, I'll lift her clothes and give her acupuncture. You guys are standing here. Aren't you afraid that you'll see something you shouldn't see?" Su Yiyen looked at Hua Chenhuan meaningfully. Hua Chenhuan's face changed slightly, and he said with a strong desire for survival, "I'll go out right away." "We'll go out too, Grandpa." Jiang Chengwang's face was full of worry. The needle was so scary. It must be very painful. Unfortunately, old Master Jiang didn't care about what he thought and dragged him out. Seeing this, Hua Chenhuan leaned over and kissed Su Yiyen. She whispered, "I'll wait for you outside. Come out soon." "Okay, close the door for me." After the three people left, only Su Yiyen and Jiang Qingrun were left in the room. As soon as Su Yiyen approached, Jiang Qingrun's whole body stiffened. "Nervous?" "A little. Don't be afraid. This needle looks scary, but it won't hurt." Jiang Qingrun forced a smile, but he was still a little flustered. He had to try to divert his attention. "Can my leg really be cured? Did you see Chen Huan when his legs weren't working?" "No, but I heard that he was similar to you before." "What about now?" "He's fine." "Yes, he's fine. If he can recover, why can't you?" Jiang Qingrun was stunned, and her eyes suddenly became hot. It had been a few years. Her grandfather had never given up looking for people to treat her legs, but those people had said that her legs were not cured. Now, someone told her that if others could cure it, why couldn't she? Jiang Qingrun rubbed the pillow to hide her tears. Thank you. You'd better wait a few months before saying this to me when you're better." Okay. She had waited for a few years. Now, it was only a few months. She could wait with hope. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 555. Su Yiyen was busy treating people inside, and the three of them were waiting anxiously outside. Jiang Chengwang, in particular, had been wandering back and forth since he came out. A layer of the floor in front of the guest room was almost rubbed off by him. At first, old Master Jiang was relatively calm. He even took advantage of this leisure time to call the old friend he had mentioned before and ask him about the suite in Sea City. The old friend was also loyal. When he heard that he was going to take his granddaughter to Sea City to live for a while, he immediately said, "Why rent outside? How can renting be more comfortable than living in your own house?" Anyway, they didn't live in that house much and had always been empty. After the grandfather and granddaughter went over, they could help to clean up the house. There was no need to rent outside. He would ask someone to send the key over when he was free. Old Master Jiang didn't refuse after hearing this. He really needed this place to stay now, so there was no need to be pretentious about this matter. As for this favor, he would remember it. Time passed by minute. After about an hour, old Master Jiang began to be anxious. He frequently looked at the closed door of the guest room, and even began to be absent-minded when talking to Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan was actually a little anxious. He didn't care about Sister Zhang's situation inside, but he was worried that his wife would be tired. After working for the first day, he had to cook dinner, and now he had to treat people for so long. Just thinking about it made him feel tired. Thinking of this, Hua Chenhuan despised this family a little more. He regretted that he had revealed Su Yiyen's matter to him for a moment of convenience and for the sake of this person's old relationship with his parents. Old Master Jiang didn't know that someone had begun to regret cooperating with him because he cared about his wife. If he knew, his mood would be very complicated. "Grandpa, why is there no movement inside at all?" "Sister, your sister's leg is so serious. It must be more time-consuming to treat it. Just wait patiently." Although he said that, Old Master Zhang's eyes couldn't help but drift to the door. Obviously, his heart was not at ease. At this moment, the door opened with a click. Su Yiyan walked out, yawning. Okay, go in and bring her out. She should be asleep soon. Jiang Chengwang rushed in immediately. Sister, are you okay? However, she met her sister's sparkling eyes. Sister. I'm fine. Take me out. Oh, okay. Jiang Chengwang was stunned for a few seconds before he came back to his senses. He hurriedly carried his sister into the wheelchair, feeling that his sister seemed to be different from usual. Seeing Su Yiyan come out, Master Jiang also stood up suddenly. Suppressing the urge to go in and see his granddaughter, he took the initiative to ask about Jiang Qingruan's situation. Sister Su, Qingrun. I've already treated her. Her condition is slightly worse than Chen Huan's. Hearing this, Master Jiang's heart skipped a beat. If her condition was worse than Chen Huan's, then... Fortunately, she didn't waste as much time as Chen Huan, so the chances of her being cured are still very high. If it had been a few years later, it might not have been so easy. Old Master Zhang's mood was like a roller coaster, rising and falling. If it weren't for his healthy heart, he would have been lying down by now. That's good. That's good. When Jiang Chengwang pushed his sister out, he heard their conversation. He frowned as if he had made up his mind. Suddenly he asked, Can you really cure my sister? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 556. As soon as he asked this question, the atmosphere in the room immediately became subtle. Chengwang! Old Master Jiang shouted in a low voice, for fear that he would offend him as soon as he opened his mouth. Hua Chenhuan also took his words as a question to Su Yiyan, and her face darkened on the spot. Su Yiyan didn't care much and said truthfully, If nothing unexpected happens, yes. Jiang Chengwang gritted his teeth, walked out from behind his sister, and solemnly bowed to Su Yiyan. He even said in a particularly childish manner, If you can cure her, my life is yours. Su Yiyan. Young man, do you think you're filming some righteous martial arts inspirational drama? Hua Chenhuan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. What did he mean by my life is yours? Didn't this mean that he would repay the kindness of saving his life with his body? He dared to steal his woman in front of him. Did he think that he was dead? Chengwang! Old Master Jiang and Jiang Qingrun exclaimed at the same time. However, unlike the anger from before, this shout was more of fear and worry. How could this child not take his own life seriously? If he took it seriously, wouldn't it be? Su Yiyan was silent for a few seconds, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. In a society ruled by law, I don't steal, I don't rob, and I don't kill for money. Why would I want your life? Jiang Chengwang was stunned, and his eyes widened. He didn't know what to do. After all, he was still an immature minor. In the eyes of Su Yiyan, who had lived 2 lives, he was just a child. If you really want to do something, first wash your... Su Yiyan pointed at his green hair and tried to think of a word. Wash this green hair. It's really too eye-catching. What did it mean to have green hair? Didn't children nowadays know? Su Yiyan thought about it for a while and decided not to hurt her eyes. She was just trying to pursue a little unconventional. Before Jiang Qingrun completely recovered, she would definitely have to meet this grandfather and grandson several times. Based on how much he cared about his sister, he would most likely be present when he treated Jiang Qingrun. Su Yiyan felt that he might go blind after looking at this green-haired beast a few more times. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes. She felt that the patch of green on top of a certain someone's head was very similar to her. Jiang Chengwang didn't sense the approaching danger. Hearing Su Yiyan's words, he blankly reached out his hand to touch his dazzling smart neon green. Feeling wronged, he said, Is it really that ugly? As soon as this was said, not only Su Yiyan, but even Jiang Qingrun and the others' expressions became indescribable. Actually, Grandpa and I have wanted to be with you for a long time. Your hair is really ugly. It was really ugly. She just wanted to protect her child's self-esteem, so she had no choice but to hold her nose and bear with it. Now, someone finally spoke the truth that they had been holding back for a long time. Jiang Qingrun gave his brother a fatal blow without any psychological burden. As if struck by lightning, Jiang Chengwang shut himself up on the spot. When they saw him looking at each other like this, they couldn't help but burst out laughing. It was a little late when they started the treatment. When the treatment ended, it was already late at night. The three people from the Jiang family didn't want to disturb them anymore. After thanking Su Yiyan again, they prepared to leave. Before leaving, Jiang Chengwang still didn't give up and asked, "You really don't need me, Hua Chenhuan? This stinking brat is asking for a beating." Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 557. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She glanced at Old Master Jiang and Jiang Qingrun, who looked nervous. She sighed inwardly. Naughty children were really worrisome. No need. Su Yiyan seriously rejected Jiang Chengwang's proposal. Child, don't always think about these messy things. Compensation and rewards are important. They have nothing to do with you. How does it have nothing to do with me? Jiang Chengwang subconsciously glanced at his sister's legs and said unwillingly, "I'm not a child." Before you say that, dye your green hair back first. Jiang Chengwang. I is so angry. He couldn't stand this grievance. Su Yiyan didn't care whether he was wronged or not. She winked at Old Master Jiang and asked him to quickly take this naughty child home. Old Master Jiang was also afraid that this naughty child would say something shocking again, so he covered his mouth and dragged him and his eldest granddaughter away in a hurry. Su Yiyan looked at their backs as they hurried away, but she couldn't help laughing. She didn't laugh for long before her face was turned over by a certain someone. She saw her man's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. What's wrong? Su Yiyan blinked innocently. You smiled so happily at him. Hua Chenhuan said this through gritted teeth. Su Yiyan smiled slightly and deliberately teased him. Don't you think he's very interesting? No. Yes. Yes. Ha 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 ha. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan's black face and couldn't help laughing out loud. Do you think his green hair matches you well? Hua Chenhuan's black face suddenly turned green, and two sentences he saw in the live broadcast room unconsciously appeared in his mind. Love is a light, so green that it makes people panic. If you want to live a good life, you have to be a cuckold. Bah, nonsense. No one can make him wear a cuckold. Su Yiyan looked at her man's increasingly unsightly expression. She held back her laughter and explained, That's the way I look at the child. Although the child is naughty and mischievous, she's very cute. Although he would be angry when he saw them causing trouble, he would feel more helpless, which made him laugh. And when I look at him, I always think of you. Thinking of me? The affectionate look on Hua Chenhuan's face froze. She couldn't understand how they were similar. Su Yiyan turned to look at him. His eyes seemed to contain a ray of light. He's not old. Looking at him, I always wonder if you were about the same age as him before the accident. Hua Chenhuan was slightly startled. Indeed, he and his parents were about Jiang Chengwang's age when the accident happened. At that time, did you also have a rebellious period like him? Maybe you even dyed your hair green like him? Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh again. Hua Chenhuan. I'm not. Don't overthink it. I'm not as childish as him. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. She deliberately teased him. You also know that he's childish? Then, aren't you even more childish for arguing with such a childish person like him? Hua Chenhuan was at a loss for words. Anyway, you're not allowed to smile at him like that again. I can't guarantee that, unless he can be normal next time. Otherwise, with that head of green light, green hair, it would be hard for her not to notice him even if she didn't want to. It wasn't just green hair. What if he dyed his hair red, purple, yellow, or rainbow? She couldn't guarantee that she would put all these hair colors on Hua Chenhuan's head one by one. Then, ha ha ha. With that thought, Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh like a barbell. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 558. Hua Chenhuan sensed Su Yiyan's gaze lingering on the top of her head. She heard her uncontrollable laughter and guessed what she was thinking. She was both annoyed and amused. She secretly planned to call old Master Jiang when Su Yiyan wasn't paying attention and ask him to discipline his rebellious grandson. Young Master Jiang, who had no idea that he was about to be cut in half during his rebellious period. Who did he offend? Now that the Jiang family's matter was resolved, Su Yiyan was relieved of the burden on her shoulders. The next morning, Su Yiyan was in a good mood and went to the company to clock in. However, she bumped into an unexpected acquaintance. Auntie! Auntie? Su Yiyan turned her head in confusion and saw Lan Jia waving happily at her not far away. Why was this guy at her company? Auntie! And Rusu, who was dragged over by Lan Jia, looked at Su Yiyan in surprise. She couldn't believe that this girl, who was about the same age as them, was Lan Jia's auntie? As if reading her mind, Su Yiyan glared at Lan Jia helplessly and pretended to be annoyed. You can just call me by my name. Calling me auntie makes me sound old. Lan Jia touched his head guiltily and complained in a low voice. Sister-in-law and my parents scolded me and told me not to be rude in front of you. Since he had already said that, Su Yiyan didn't want to dwell on the issue. She turned her gaze to the girl beside him. And this is... Hello. President Su. My name is Rusu. I'm the scriptwriter who's here to discuss a collaboration with your company. Scriptwriter. Su Yiyan's eyes darted between the two of them. She smiled and asked, What's your relationship with him? And Rusu didn't expect her to be so direct and was stunned for a few seconds. Lan Jia saw this and immediately answered, She's my junior from the same school and also my current girlfriend. Girlfriend? Su Yiyan came to a sudden realization. The girlfriend you mentioned to your sister-in-law during your grandfather's birthday? Yes, that's her. Lan Jia was a little embarrassed, but he didn't forget to recommend his girlfriend to Su Yiyan. Auntie, our Su is very good at drawing. Many people on the internet like to watch her drawings. She's also a fan of the host. Su Yiyan then recalled that Lan Jia had previously mentioned that she was their matchmaker. Could it be because of this that a certain someone had dragged his girlfriend into her trap? Oh really? What was her ID in the live streaming room? I might have an impression of him. The moment Su Yiyan said that, Lan Jia instinctively looked at his girlfriend with an encouraging expression. The corner of Rusu's mouth twitched when she caught his gaze. She said awkwardly, my live stream ID is my roommate is a dumbass. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. She felt that this ID sounded familiar. She pondered for a moment, then a thought flashed through her mind. Rusu? Don't tell me you're... Rusu met her gaze. She didn't know why, but for some reason, she revealed her other identity. Oh, I have another ID on the internet. It's Anji Ruosu. So it was her. Wasn't Anji Ruosu one of the dorm sisters who had helped her clear her name on the internet? Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle is Obviously in Love with My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 559. Su Yiyan was pleasantly surprised. She looked at Rusu with more enthusiasm. Don't you have a roommate whose ID is Aunt left today? And she has a verified account called Xia Yu Ning Shi? Rusu was stunned. She didn't expect Su Yiyan to know about this. Yes. Lan Jia looked at Rusu, who was standing there in a daze, and chuckled. I knew she was a fan of the host. You didn't believe me. Rusu seemed to wake up from a dream. She glanced at Su Yiyan subconsciously. Then she reached out and pinched Lan Jia's waist without mercy. How dare he expose her in front of Rao Rao? He needs to be taught a lesson. Lan Jia's expression changed. He wanted to cry out in pain, but then he remembered that he was in someone else's company. He could only complain about his girlfriend with tears in his eyes. Su Yiyan saw the two's actions and changed the subject. Did you come here to talk about a collaboration with our company? What collaboration? Have you signed the contract? It's an adaptation of a comic. I've already signed the contract. I'm here to deliver the script. Comic? Su Yiyan seemed to realize something. Don't tell me you're talking about, you're not allowed to become a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic? You're not allowed to become a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic, was one of the 3 IP projects that Xia Junxing had proposed to her. It was about a 9-tailed fox who became a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic due to malnutrition. She had no choice but to become a black fox. In order to avoid the investigation of the censorship department, she made countless jokes. Although this kind of plot was usually defined as a comedy, the characters in the story were full of character. The seemingly funny plot also vaguely revealed many real problems. There were laughter and tears, flesh and blood. This was why Su Yiyan had taken a liking to it and promoted it as a key IP. And Rusu was surprised. How did you know? This is the only IP that the company has been focusing on recently. I didn't expect the original author to be you. You're amazing. And Rusu was a little embarrassed by her praise. You're flattering me. I was originally learning how to draw. I drew this on a whim. I didn't expect it to come to this day. My roommate is much better than I am. Your roommate? Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. Xia Yuning? Yes. One of her books has also been signed by your company. What's his name? Dancing in Red. Su Yiyan was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the book he paid special attention to was written by an acquaintance. Isn't she a cosplayer? Why did you go and write? Before this, Su Yiyan really didn't know what a cosplayer was. It was because of this Xia Yoshi that he went to investigate. It could be said that he had a deep impression of it. Cosplaying is just her hobby. Writing is also her hobby. Just like drawing is my hobby. And Rusu didn't dare to do it. Cosplaying was one of her hobbies. It was just that Xia Ningxi had taught her to cosplay. Usually, whenever Xia Ningxi cosplayed a female character, she would drag Rusu along to cosplay a male character. It was better not to reveal this matter, lest a certain someone thought that he was a cuckold. At this thought, Rusu instinctively glanced at Lan Jia. Lan Jia, who was oblivious to the green light above his head. Su Yiyan heard her words and frowned slightly. Didn't you just say that you learned how to draw? Now you're saying that drawing is just your hobby? What's your main occupation then? I know that. I know that. Before Rusu could answer, Lan Jia beat her to it. Rusu's main occupation is a fashion designer. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. They didn't support them when they were in their prime, but they didn't abandon them when they were down. They were more generous than many people. Chen Huan told me about this before. How about this? I'll go back and discuss it with him tonight. Let's find a time when everyone is free to get together? Lan Jia's eyes lit up. He nodded repeatedly. Okay. I'll go home and tell my grandparents in a while. They've been thinking about this for a few days. Now they can finally rest assured. Su Yiyan went home that night and told Hua Chenhuan about it. As she expected, Hua Chenhuan agreed without much hesitation. That night, she called Lan Minghan and settled on a time to visit. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 561. That weekend, Su Yiyan woke up early in the morning to make a bowl of orange peel plum chicken and papaya pork belly soup. She packed them up and prepared to send them to the Lan family. Hua Chenhuan felt sorry for his wife who woke up so early to make food for others. He was also depressed that their morning lovey-dovey time was gone. Seeing Su Yiyan coming out of the kitchen with an insulated box, Hua Chenhuan said awkwardly and sadly, "We are guests. We don't have to bring food for them. It's because we are guests that we can't bring nothing. If others know about this, we won't even have the most basic manners. Besides, my food is different from theirs. This is specially prepared for the pregnant granddaughter-in-law of the Lan family. As an uncle, are you jealous of a pregnant woman?" That's right. These two things were sent to Yen Xiaoran, who was still pregnant. Su Yiyan specially sent ginseng to the old master's birthday. She also listed a few nourishing methods of ginseng at the bottom of the box. Her purpose was to nourish the bodies of the two old men of the Lan family, who had helped Hua Chenhuan before. Although they were guests this time, they couldn't go empty-handed. With the Lan family's family background, they probably didn't care about ordinary things. What they cared about most now was the health of their family members. The two old men had sent the ginseng before. The men of the Lan family were also strong and didn't need any nourishment. The only person they cared about was the pregnant Yen Xiaoran, the healthy and strong man who was treated unfairly again. It's too difficult. Hua Chunhuan opened his mouth. He had already prepared the gifts to visit the Lan family. But on second thought, compared to the ones he had prepared, the Lan family might prefer the two dishes prepared by Su Yiyen. I just don't want to see you so tired. Su Yiyen took the initiative to hold Hua Chunhuan's arm. She smiled sweetly. It's just two dishes. It's not tiring. Besides, the others also helped me. Well, let's not talk about this. Let's go quickly. They will have to wait for us if we are late. Okay. The few members of the Lan family attached great importance to this gathering. They got up early in the morning to prepare. I shouldn't be too rigid in this dress, right? The blue old man touched the casual clothes on his body and turned to ask his wife for confirmation. No, this is just right. It's not too rigid or sloppy. As long as you don't pull a long face like usual, you won't scare them. When old Master Lan heard this, he curled his lips in grievance. He usually didn't deliberately keep a straight face. Wasn't it because these bastards below were too worrisome that he was always angry? Could he be blamed for this? Thinking like this, Lord Lan's slightly disdainful gaze suddenly turned to his own son, Daddy Lan, who had been implicated even when he was doing nothing. Being glared at for no reason, Mr. Lan was embarrassed. He decisively avoided his father's death stare and coughed softly. How's the preparation of the dishes in the kitchen? The soup was simmered early. It was just ready at noon. The cooling layer is ready. Let's wait for the hot guests to come. Otherwise, it will be cold later. Hearing his wife's words, Mr. Lan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Our cook is good at cooking. It's best to let them eat it a second time. In this way, they could take the initiative to come to their house more often and exchange feelings. Naturally, they didn't have to worry about that. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 562. Mr. Lan was very confident in the culinary skills of his family's chef. He felt that even if Hua Chunhuan's family had a private chef, the culinary skills would definitely not be as good as his family's. Yen Xiaoran and Lan Minghan, the only two people who knew Su Yiyen's true identity, had a subtle expression when they heard his words. The chef's culinary skills were indeed not that good, but the host's cooking was not only good, but the food at home might not be good enough. Lan Jiaya was kept in the dark from the beginning to the end, stupidly waiting for Su Yiyen and Yen Xiaoran to come over. He didn't know why, but he had a good impression of this aunt. Maybe it was because they had a common idol. Idol? No, you're really thinking too much. It was almost 11 o'clock when Su Yiyen arrived at the Lan family's house. Although the Lan family tried their best to act natural, they didn't want the two to be too restrained. But when they saw the two, especially when they saw Hua Chunhuan, their eyes suddenly lit up, betraying their true feelings at the moment. You! Mr. Lan had already forgotten the script he had prepared before, trembling as he reached out his hand to point at Hua Chunhuan. Hua Chunhuan's eyes quickly flashed with a trace of emotion. He took the initiative to hold the old man's slightly rough hand and whispered, Uncle Lan, I'm all better. Mr. Lan's eyes reddened because of his words. He patted his hand and said, It's good that you're all better. You're still young, and there are many good days waiting for you in the future. You're all good, all good. It was just a few sentences, but they were the old man's most sincere blessings. Hua Chunhuan's eyes were more warm. Old Madame Lan also held her husband's other hand and complained, It's rare for the children to come. Why don't you bring them in to sit? Why are you standing at the door? Mr. Lan seemed to wake up from a dream. Yes. I was so happy that I forgot. Come on, let's go in quickly. The old man was about to pull Hua Chunhuan into the house. Hua Chunhuan did not refuse. With one hand held by the old man, she pulled Su Yiyen into the house with her other hand. Yen Xiaoran and Yen Xiaoran naturally noticed Su Yiyen, who was following behind Hua Chunhuan, as well as the thermos in her hand. What is Auntie carrying? Such a big box. It's quite cumbersome. Upon hearing her question, Su Yiyen immediately exchanged a knowing smile with her. I heard that Jaya's appetite hasn't been good recently and that you've been feeling nauseous, so I specially asked a skilled chef to make some food. I don't know if it's to your liking. Yen Xiaoran's eyes lit up, and the way she looked at the thermos changed. Lan Minghan was also a little excited. After the birthday banquet, his wife told him about Su Yiyen's identity and asked him to keep it a secret for the time being. After hearing this, Lan Minghan finally understood why Su Yiyen could take out such a big ginseng to give to his grandparents. Lan Minghan had a good impression of this benefactor, who had indirectly helped him and his wife to have a crystallization of their love so quickly, and had previously helped them solve their grandmother's appetite problem. When he heard that there was something inside that could make his wife feel better, he hurriedly took it eagerly. He even pretended to decline. "You're too polite. Just come. You didn't have to bring anything." Su Yiyen. You say that, but don't accept things so quickly. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 563. Mr. Lan and the others did not know about Su Yiyen, so they did not have much of a reaction. However, no matter what, it was still Su Yiyen's kind intentions. Moreover, the ginseng that Su Yiyen gave to old Master Lan during his birthday celebration still made them sigh with emotion. They did not stop Yen Xiaoran and her husband from accepting it. Seeing that Lan Minghan took the things, Mrs. Lan said, "Just in time. It's getting late. Let's have a meal first. If there's anything else, we can talk about it later." Yen Xiaoran and her husband were very curious about the things in the box, so naturally, they did not have any objections. Su Yiyen and her husband were guests. Since the host had spoken, they naturally had no objections. The group moved to the dining table in the inner room. There were many people in the Lan family, and they basically lived together, so the dining table was especially big. The two oldest elders sat at the main seat, followed by Mr. and Mrs. Lan. Hua Chenhuan and her husband were guests, so they sat on the other side. Logically speaking, Lan Minghan and his wife should sit below Mr. and Mrs. Lan, followed by Lan Jia. However, Yen Xiaoran was thinking about the things in the thermos box, so she did not think much and sat beside Su Yiyen. Lan Minghan was the kind of person who would sit wherever his wife was. He followed her and sat beside his wife. Lan Jia was a little late. When he realized that there were no more seats beside Su Yiyen, he was stunned for a moment before sitting beside Mrs. Lan. He was a little confused about his brother and sister-in-law's friendliness towards Su Yiyen. Mrs. Lan was also very surprised when she saw this scene. She smiled faintly and asked, "When did Xiaoran and Su Yiyen become so close?" After asking, she realized that she was a little rude. Before she could do anything to remedy it, she heard Su Yiyen laugh and say, "Xiaoran chatted with me during Uncle Lan's birthday celebration. Coincidentally, my aunt is pregnant, so she has some common topics with Xiaoran." Unconsciously, we talked more. When everyone heard her words, they suddenly realized that the best topic to get this woman closer was definitely children. Although Su Yiyen herself did not have any children, her relatives did. Moreover, they were very close relatives. Naturally, she had common topics with Yen Xiaoran, and it was easy for them to become familiar with each other. A group of people thought that they had seen through the truth, but little did they know that Yen Xiaoran was still in a daze. Before Su Yiyen spoke, she did not even know that the other party's aunt was pregnant, let alone discuss this matter with her. However, on second thought, Su Yiyen often used the excuse of "someone in my family is not in good health and needs to be nourished" during her live stream to create medicinal cuisine for related illnesses. Come to think of it, the medicinal cuisine he drank back then was made for this aunt, and she just so happened to be pregnant? Mrs. Lan had been in a good mood recently because her son and daughter-in-law were pregnant. When she heard Su Yiyen's words, her eyes lit up. "Your aunt is pregnant too?" "Yes, it's been more than 8 months. It's already been more than 8 months. Isn't she about to give birth?" "Yes, the expected date of delivery is about a month away. Chunhuan and I are planning to go over in a few weeks. There are few people over there, and my aunt is not old. The two of us can help take care of her when we go over, so that they won't be in a mess when the time comes." Mrs. Lan understood and nodded. She agreed and said, Of course. It's already hard to be pregnant, and it's even harder to give birth. At this time, if there are more relatives around to help, she will suffer less and her mood will be much better. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 564. Although other people could not help with childbirth, the family row's concern was always useful at times like this. At least it would let the person who was struggling to give birth know that there were so many people around her who supported her and cared for her. When she gave birth, she would have more hope in her heart and be able to persevere. Su Yiyen smiled. Then she seemed to have thought of something and casually said, "The 2 dishes I brought for Xiaofan today were also eaten by my aunt before. When she was pregnant, she stayed at my house for a period of time. A few months ago, she did not have much of an appetite. She would vomit after eating, vomit again and again. After that, she finally felt better after eating these 2 dishes." Most pregnant women would experience morning sickness a few months before pregnancy. Qin Shueru's morning sickness was quite severe before, but she happened to be in the Su family at that time. Su Yiyen helped to nurse her back to health for a period of time and there was no problem after that. Yan Xiaoran's morning sickness came later. It only started when she was almost 5 months pregnant. The child was already grown up. Compared to Qin Shueru, it was definitely more difficult for her. Everyone in the Lan family was slightly stunned. They subconsciously looked at the 2 dishes in front of Yan Xiaoran. Su Yiyen made her orange peel plum chicken and papaya stewed pork tripe. 1 dish and 1 soup. The quality of the insulated box was very good. When the soup and dishes were taken out, they were still steaming hot. The faint fragrance of the dishes also drifted into the noses of the rows present. At this time, the table was basically filled with cold dishes and desserts. When these 2 dishes were taken out, they were a little outstanding. The rows of the Lan family were a little dazed. However, they still remembered that these were for pregnant women. No matter how greedy they were, they could not snatch them away. Su Yiyen and Hua Chenhuan were used to eating the dishes at home, so they were calm. They picked up the dessert that they had eaten at the birthday banquet and took a bite. After confirming the taste, they directly fed the rest to Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan was already used to being fed. She did not even think before putting it into her mouth and eating it quickly. The Lan family members who witnessed this scene. What was this thing that was so dazzling that it almost blinded them? It was only then that Su Yiyen realized that they weren't in their own house. Her hand movements stiffened, and a slight blush appeared on her face. Seemingly seeing Su Yiyen's embarrassment, Mrs. Lan took the initiative to start a conversation. "Yan, do you like children?" Su Yiyen subconsciously glanced at the person beside him and whispered, "I like her." "Then the 2 of you will have to work harder to return to school." Su Yiyen blushed, but Hua Chenhuan held her hand and replied with a smile, "We will." This fellow had no sense of shame in front of so many people. Su Yiyen glared at him angrily. She didn't know that in the eyes of the crowd, the 2 of them were harmonious and had a good relationship. While they were talking, the hot dishes were finally served. The Lan family's chef was very good at making desserts, but when it came to hot dishes, the heat control was slightly lacking. However, compared to the high-class restaurants outside, it was considered very good. Su Yiyen and Mrs. Lan had eaten breakfast before coming, so they weren't particularly hungry. Most of the time, they just ate a little symbolically. On the contrary, Yan Xiaoran, who didn't have a good appetite before this and suffered every time she ate, had a much better appetite after eating the orange pickled plum chicken. Not only did she enjoy the 2 dishes that Su Yiyen brought, but she also ate a lot of the dishes that the chef at home made, which made the family overjoyed. "Xiaoran, your appetite is much better today." Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 565. Yan Xiaoran looked up at everyone and smiled. "This plum chicken is sweet and sour. It's very appetizing. The soup tastes good too. How do you feel now? Do you want to throw up?" Although Mama Lan was happy, it wasn't like she hadn't experienced such a situation before. She ate it but then spat it all out. Yan Xiaoran shook her head. She felt better than ever. No, my stomach feels warm and comfortable. I don't want to throw up at all. Unlike before, when he started to feel nauseous after eating it, he felt uncomfortable all over. Everyone in the Lan family was overjoyed. They were worried that Yan Xiaoran couldn't eat well these days. Seeing her poor appetite, Jirong thought of the hawthorn that Lan Jia got from Su Yiyan. At that time, Su Yiyan gave him a big box and told him not to eat too much at once or too often. If he couldn't finish it in a short time, he could dry it and store it. The effect would be similar when he made tea. For this reason, they dried a lot of hawthorn in the sun in case of an emergency. Seeing Yan Xiaoran like that, they wanted to give it to her immediately. However, Lan Jia, who had been to the restaurant several times, told them that pregnant women couldn't eat hawthorn. The only way was blocked. They were already thinking about whether they should use Lan Jia's identity as a senior viewer, and the friendship between the Lan and Hua families, to ask for it shamelessly. However, they didn't expect Su Yiyan to come first. It was like a pillow sent to them when they were sleepy. Mrs. Lan's eyes lit up. She wanted to ask Su Yiyan about the two ingredients. Yan, these two dishes. Before she could finish, Lan Jia interrupted. Auntie, why do these two dishes look a bit like the ones in the streamer's restaurant? It was normal for Lan Jia to have this suspicion. Before this, almost no one would use tangerine peel to cook. It was the same for papaya. Many people only used it as a fruit. Only in the streamer's live broadcast room would they use it to make delicious dishes. Su Yiyan was stunned by his question. After he reacted, he quickly organized his words. Ahem, you guessed right. These dishes are indeed the ones in the streamer's restaurant. Lan Jia's eyes narrowed as he exclaimed, Then how did you bring the food out? Traditional Chinese medicine had always been particular about prescribing the right medicine for each patient, and it was the same for medicinal cuisine. Different people in different situations required different things to eat, so the amount of Chinese herbs added was also different. Just like the person who had been bribed to slander their shop, he secretly took out the food that should have been eaten by him and gave it to others. Fortunately, his mother's illness was more serious than his. His portion of medicine was considered to be on the lighter side, so she didn't have any problems. If the dosage was too heavy, who knew if there would be problems after eating it? Would they really blame it on them? Therefore, after that incident, the employees in the store became even more vigilant and did not allow anyone to take the medicinal cuisine out of the store. How could Lan Jia not be surprised when he saw what was in Su Yiyan's shop? The way Lan Jia looked at Su Yiyan right now was as if he was looking at a bad student who didn't abide by the rules and secretly brought the exam papers out of the examination hall. Cheating bad student Su Yiyan. Well. Su Yiyan rolled his eyes and muttered, Your uncle is the supreme VIP of the restaurant. Of course, he has some privileges that others don't have. Hua Chenhuan suddenly remembered what Su Yiyan had said to him when he went to the medicinal cuisine restaurant for the first time. His eyes suddenly became deep. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore, for free. Chapter 566. Supreme VIP. Lan Jia was stunned. Then his face flushed with excitement. There's a VIP in the restaurant? What are the conditions? I want to have one too. Lan Minghan and the rest pricked up their ears. VIP. They wanted to have one too. Conditions. Su Yiyan glanced at Hua Chenhuan, a teasing smile on her lips. You probably need some nepotism. Lan Jia. Nepotism? Was it the nepotism he was thinking of? He felt that something was amiss. Lan Minghan and his wife, who knew the truth. We won't eat this dog food. Although Madame Lan didn't know the inside story, she could tell that Hua Chenhuan had connections. She wanted to ask him for help, but she was too embarrassed to ask. Su Yiyan could tell what she was thinking and smiled faintly. Xiaoran, if you still want to eat more, let Chenhuan inform them. It's not good for your body to get sick of the same food. Next time, let them change to something else and see which suits Xiaoran's taste better. The Lan family's eyes lit up, but they were worried that it would bring unnecessary trouble to Hua Chenhuan and Lan Jia. Will that be too much trouble for you? No, before I learned these two dishes, I discussed it with the staff in the restaurant. Their restaurant only serves 200 people at a time. It's okay to add one more person for Chen Huan's sake. Su Yiyan glanced at Yan Xiaoran and lowered her eyes to hide her emotions. She didn't want to make trouble for herself, but Yan Xiaoran's health wasn't good. In the test report that Lan Jiaye gave her, there were some problems with a few indicators. It wasn't obvious now, but when it got bigger, Su Yiyan was worried that she would have gestational hypertension or anemia. Although she had only met them twice, Su Yiyan could tell that this family was really good. The parents were kind, the couple was happy, and the children were filial. Most importantly, he had once extended a helping hand to Hua Chenhuan and treated him as one of his own. In her previous life, she had been by Hua Chenhuan's side. She had never seen him looking for the Lan family, nor had she heard any news about the Lan family. Was it because he did not want to involve them, or had the Lan family been in the same situation as the Cheng family? Because of the plot. Although the elders were embarrassed to trouble Hua Chenhuan and her husband, they still felt sorry for them. After hesitating for a moment, he asked for help with a solemn expression. "Then I'll have to trouble you." Hua Chenhuan glanced at his wife who had pushed him out to take the blame. He smiled and said, "It's nothing. You're welcome." Because of this, the distance between them was shortened a lot. It reminded the elders and Hua Chenhuan of the time when his parents were still alive. The two families often gathered together like this. Unfortunately, the affairs of the world were unpredictable. Things remained the same, but people had changed. Lan Jiaye, on the other hand, was extremely curious about Su Yiyan. "Auntie, is Uncle Hua really related to the streamer? They kind of know each other, right? Auntie, have you seen the streamer in person? What does she look like? Is she beautiful?" Auntie. Lan Jiaye was like a sparrow, chirping non-stop around Su Yiyan. The corners of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. Just as she was wondering how to deal with this crazy fan, Hua Chenhuan interrupted. "Yes, I know her. I've seen her in person. She's very beautiful." Lan Jiaye. Lan Minghan and his wife. They wanted to kick this dog food over. Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan could not refuse, so they could only accept it. Before getting into the car, Mama Lan even talked to Su Yiyan alone. Taking advantage of this, Lan Minghan moved closer to Hua Chenhuan and reminded him, "I heard from a friend that the news of your recovery has spread abroad." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. Lan Minghan didn't know if he understood what he meant, so he added tentatively, "Sister Song is also abroad." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment, and his eyes drifted to Su Yiyan. He smiled and said, "It's okay. It won't change anything even if she doesn't come back." Chapter 568. Lan Minghan was a little startled, and then he smiled. "I was worrying for nothing. I wish you and your aunt have a baby soon and grow old together." Hua Chenhuan glanced at him and said in a low voice, "Thank you." He didn't know if she was thanking him for his blessing or for his reminder. When they got home, Su Yiyan was still a little excited. She showed off the gift that Mrs. Lan gave her before she left to Hua Chenhuan. "Look, sister-in-law gave me a gift." Hua Chenhuan smiled and grabbed her hand. "What gift?" "I don't know. It was specially prepared for me. She asked me to see it when I got home." Hua Chenhuan raised his eyebrows. "So mysterious. Do you want to see it?" Although Su Yiyan was a little worried that there might be something ugly in it, she didn't intend to hide it from Hua Chenhuan. "I'll open it." Hua Chenhuan took the exquisite gift box from Su Yiyan. He opened it and was stunned. "What's this? Jade?" Su Yiyan reached out and took out the thing inside. She looked puzzled. "Why is the shape of this jade a little strange? It looks like an animal." "Kirin." This is a kirin." "Kirin? What does it mean?" Hua Chenhuan looked at her deeply and chuckled. "A kirin gives a child. I guess she wants you to have a baby as soon as possible." Su Yiyan was stunned. She felt that the cold jade was inexplicably hot, and her face blushed. "What about you? What? Do you want to have a baby as soon as possible?" This was the first time that Su Yiyan asked him about this topic so seriously. Before, when they talked about this topic most of the time, it was mostly teasing and joking. Hua Chunhuan was stunned, and then he couldn't help but reach out and touch her head. Yes and no. Su Yiyan blinked and looked confused. What do you mean? Don't you like children? I do, but... But? Yan, we've been married for less than a year. Yes. A thought flashed through Su Yiyan's mind. She raised her head and looked at him. Are you reluctant to leave the two of us alone? Hua Chunhuan's thoughts were exposed. Her ears turned slightly red, but her eyes didn't flinch as she stared back at him. He really couldn't bear to leave the two of them alone. Having her was his biggest dream in this life. It hadn't even been a year, and there was already another person to share his attention with. Hua Chunhuan had to admit that she was indeed a little cunning. Su Yiyan did not know whether to laugh or cry. You're even jealous of a child. You're really... Before Su Yiyan could finish her sentence, she was hugged by Hua Chunhuan. Let nature take its course. If you're pregnant, give birth to it. If not, wait patiently. Hua Chunhuan paused and said hoarsely, Yan, I never thought that I would be able to have a child in this lifetime. You can think about it now. Su Yiyan hugged Hua Chunhuan's waist tightly. If you don't want to have too many children at home, we can have one. But I think two is better. It's more companionable, just like me and my brother. My brother has always doted on me and let me have my way. I'm very happy at that time. But don't worry, no matter how many children there are in the family, you'll always be number one in my heart. You're the most beautiful child in our family. The invisible man, Si Jigu, who was driving silently in front, couldn't help but laugh. After that, he was worried that his young master would find out, so he tried hard to hold back his laughter until his face turned red, and he almost couldn't hold the steering wheel. Hua Chunhuan noticed, but did not trouble him. He just smiled helplessly and said, Do you think you're coaxing a child? Chapter 569. Su Yiyan chuckled and admitted it confidently. Aren't you a child? You're already an adult, yet you're still competing with a child. Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and asked, So what if I'm coaxing you? Don't you like it when I coax you? Hua Chunhuan's eyes darkened slightly, and she agreed without any integrity. Yes, I like it. Hee. Sima Gu was speechless. He couldn't bear to watch. After Su Yiyan finished giggling, she suddenly seemed to think of something. She frowned and was a little worried. Hua Chunhuan immediately noticed her strange behavior and asked with concern, What's wrong? After your leg recovered, I was a little worried that Hua Xiaofang's family would come to make trouble for us. But it's been a week or two, and they haven't done anything at all. It's strange that they're so quiet. Could it be that they were scared by your sudden appearance and didn't dare to act rashly? Or were they secretly planning something and ready to cause trouble at any time? As the saying goes, one can be a thief for 1,000 days, but not a thief for 1,000 days. This family was a ticking time bomb after all. Hearing her words, Hua Chunhuan touched her head comfortingly and smiled. Don't worry, they don't have the energy to care about us now. Ha! If Su Yiyan could think of something, Hua Chunhuan naturally couldn't think of it. As early as the night before Hua Chunhuan went to the celebration, a secret email was accurately delivered to Mrs. Hua. The content of this email was intimate photos of Hua Qihan and another woman going in and out of major venues. To put it simply, Hua Qihan had an affair. He found a woman who was one round younger than him and bought a house to hide his mistress. He started a new home outside. Hua Chunhuan didn't know how Mrs. Hua would react when she received these photos, but seeing that she attended the celebration with Hua Qihan the next day, she knew that she either didn't believe it or believed it but didn't dare to fall out with Hua Qihan. But it doesn't matter. If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. Even if Mrs. Hua didn't believe him, he had ways to make her believe him. In the following week, Hua Chunhuan asked people to send Mrs. Hua a copy of Hua Qihan's intimate photos and even videos of Hua Qihan and the actress. Hua Qihan was probably very impatient with his wife and his son, Hua Xiaofan. He spent most of the week staying at the woman's house on the pretext that he was busy with work. Mrs. Hua had always felt that his attitude towards her had been a little strange recently. Now, he was not resisting her so frequently. Coupled with those photos and videos, it was a catalyst. Just 2 days ago, Mrs. Hua finally couldn't hold back and secretly went to the Hua Corporation to follow Hua Qihan. She found Hua Qihan's house outside and confirmed the authenticity of the photos and videos. Hua Furan was still a little afraid of Hua Qihan. Moreover, it was deeply ingrained in his mind that cheating was a sin. She didn't choose to rush in and argue with Hua Qihan. Instead, she left in a trance. After confirming that Hua Qihan had gone to work the next day, she ran alone to find the mistress. Hua Qihan's mistress was called Xue Xiaoyu. She was young, beautiful, and particularly delicate. In her early 30s, she wasn't particularly young, but she had the mature temperament of a woman that young people didn't have. Mrs. Hua knocked on the door and saw her. She was so angry that her nose was crooked and she slapped her. Xue Xiaoyu didn't expect Mrs. Hua to hit her at all. She was caught off guard and her face swelled. Chapter 570. Mrs. Hua did not intend to let her go. She reached out to grab her head again. Fortunately, the nanny in the apartment heard the noise and rushed out to rescue the mistress. She temporarily stopped Mrs. Hua. Xue Xiao was also very angry after being slapped for no reason. She immediately called the security guard outside the apartment to ask for help. After that, she called Hua Qihan and cried that she had been slapped by a strange woman for no reason. Hua Qihan heard that and immediately left his work to rush over. In the end, when he arrived at the scene, he saw the face of his mistress, who had a handprint on her face. She was cowering behind the security door and crying. His first wife stood at the door and cursed loudly. She even struggled to throw herself at her lover. The 2 security guards in front of her could not hold her back. Hua Qihan's dark face suddenly darkened. He stepped forward to grab Hua Fureo's hand and scolded her angrily. "What are you doing here?" Mrs. Hua was stunned. When she realized what was going on, she even reached out to grab Hua Qihan. "You ask me what I'm doing here? You still have the nerve to ask me what I'm doing here? Who is that woman? You know better than me who this woman is. You're looking for her outside, and you still have the nerve to ask me why I'm here?" Hua Qihan's appearance was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. It made Mrs. Hua go crazy. Hua Qihan was criticized by Mrs. Hua in front of so many people. His face became uglier and uglier, and his guilt toward Hua Fureo faded a lot. He glanced around with a dark face. Seeing that the 2 security guards were still there, he simply pulled Mrs. Hua into the house. The door was closed, leaving the nanny outside to deal with the security guards. Xue Xiao was also shocked when she saw Hua Qihan pull her in. She hurriedly stepped back a few steps to distance herself from the crazy woman. As soon as Mrs. Hua entered the house and saw Xue Xiao, she struggled and was about to rush over again. Hua Qihan stopped her. "Enough!" Mrs. Hua was shocked by the roar. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but Xue Xiao's eyes were red. She cried pitifully, "Brother Han." His shout angered Mrs. Hua again. "Why are you calling me brother? He can even be your father. You rely on your youth and beauty to become a mistress. How can you be so shameless? Are you done?" Hua Qihan's expression finally eased a little because her words had darkened again. Xue Xiao took good care of herself. She not only had a young appearance but also a mature woman. Therefore, within a few months, he fell in love with her tenderness and couldn't get up. It was true that he liked young women, but that didn't mean that he liked people mocking him based on his age or appearance. At this moment, Hua Qihan's disgust for Hua Fulao almost reached its peak, and the last bit of guilt in his heart disappeared. Mrs. Hua was pushed by him and staggered. When she finally stood firm, she couldn't help but want to scream. "Are you done? I'm your wife, your nominal other half. Now you're yelling at me for this woman outside." Xue Xiao hid behind Hua Qihan and looked frightened by Hua Fulao's loud voice. "Brother Han. It's okay." Hua Qihan's heart suddenly softened, and his attitude toward Hua Fulao became more impatient. "Do you know what you look like now? You're yelling outside and yelling inside. You're a shrew." Chapter 571. The word shrew irritated Mrs. Hua. "Do you think I'm a shrew now? Why didn't you think I was a shrew when you married me? That's because I was blind. I didn't see you clearly. Hua Qihan's suppressed dissatisfaction during this period of time gushed out because of Mrs. Hua's question. I used to think that you were gentle and magnanimous. Even if you couldn't help me with my business, at least you could let me have no worries about my family. And the result? You're as stupid as a pig. You only know how to yell when you're in trouble. You have no manners at all. No wonder you raised such a good-for-nothing son. He's a disgrace to me. Mrs. Hua was already angry. She didn't expect Hua Qihan to mention their son at this time, and in such a tone. This reminded her of the day when Hua Xiaofan was injured and hospitalized. Hua Qihan was also indifferent. He didn't stay to take a good look at his son before he left. Could it be that at that time, he was already thinking of this? Hua Fu's anger rushed to his head again. Son. Xiaofan is my son. Isn't he your son? You despise him now? Who was the one who flaunted him around like a treasure in the early years? Half of Xiaofang's genes are yours. He's a good-for-nothing. Isn't it because he has a useless father? You what? Any man couldn't stand a woman calling herself a good-for-nothing. Especially a male chauvinist like Hua Qihan. He was also angry at the moment. He pointed at Mrs. Hua and scolded, "Don't forget who raised you all these years. You, a parasite raised by me for more than 20 years, have the nerve to call me a good-for-nothing. You're worse than a good-for-nothing." Hua Qihan, you bastard. Hua Qihan didn't want to talk to her anymore. He pointed at the door and shouted, "I've had enough. You're an unreasonable shrew. Get out of here now. I'll ask my secretary to send you the divorce certificate. Sign it immediately. We'll divorce." Divorce. Xue Xiaofang, who was hiding behind Hua Qihan, heard this and her eyes lit up. She couldn't help but smile. Divorce? Mrs. Hua's vision went dark when she heard those two words. She couldn't help but tremble. This man wanted to divorce her? They had been husband and wife for more than 20 years. In the end, she was scolded as a shrew. Her son was incompetent. This man wanted to divorce her for a woman outside? Why? Hafro's face twisted for a moment. Especially when he saw the smile on Xue Xiao's face. He lost his last bit of rationality. You want to divorce me? Let me tell you no. Back then, you were the one who begged me to marry you. Now that you have another woman, you want to kick me aside? Let me tell you, it's easier to invite the devil as divorce Mises and tease a woman. Teat. S he's a S. Teat testes. SM S haves ts have. Teat what it is. S says to us wah. S was. Hua Qihan reacted quickly. He grabbed Hua Fu's and pushed him away. Mrs. Hua staggered. When she was about to step forward, she heard Xue Xiaofang's loud cry. "Child, Brother Han, child, my stomach hurts." You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.